Hello, my name's Harold. Uh, I was thinking about things that hear in common use words and such. And I've noticed, even on our big boy machine shop channels, these guys will say, "Well, I've got some extra footage of such and such to show you today," and or "I've got some footage in the can." And I would guess that people under 20 probably don't have any idea what the heck they're talking about. I know in another 5 or 10 years, nobody will know. I mean, these guys, they don't have any footage. I bet you. I bet they've all got digital cameras. There's not a there's not a film camera in amongst them. So there's no footage to have, and unless they got a little USB drive or an SD card that they've stuck in a can somewhere, it's really not in the can. You know. But we use a lot of words like that are outdated. I guess it kind of carries on for a little while, and the kids pick up on it, some of them, and then after a while, the words just really fall into that mystery spot where you know nobody knows really what the heck they mean or where they come from or why they're called that. Uh, anyway, let's move on to something else. I put my mill drill, whatever. When I got it, I put it on my workbench. And I went under the workbench and I put four before standing on end and four befores crossways to hold the sucker up, and then I use plywood cross members that are long and all that to make it good and solid and steady. And then I had to extend the workbench out an extra 6 inches wider because even at that, the mill just slid up there, and the housing and the motor are back in between the studs of the wall there, and the front end of it is just about an inch back from the outside edge of the workbench, which means that I just barely got it into a spot there that it fits. And I wish I had bought the stand for it and put it out in the middle of the floor somewhere, even if I had to sell something. Uh, I think I'm going to work on making some room out in the middle of the floor and maybe just build me a stand for the thing and get it off the workbench, because every time I want to loosen the collet, I got to get a step ladder and climb the ladder to get up there to loosen the draw bolt. And if I want to change the belts, I got to climb up a ladder and stand on the workbench to get up there and change the belts. And if this thing was a foot lower down, it would be a whole lot easier to do everything with it, I think. Uh, Maybe it wouldn't, but I think it would. And anyway, in the meantime, till I get around to doing that, which could, knowing my rate of procrastination, could take years. But I got tired of reaching over and cranking the head of the thing up. It's a column type, and every time you get to working along there, you find out that your tool is too long to get in, between the workpiece and the spindle, or else the tool's too short for you to let the spindle down and touch the workpiece. So you got to loosen the thing up and crank the thing up or down. And of course it moves side to side when you're doing that, so you're not lined up anymore. You got to recenter everything when you get through. And it's in general not the best choice, but it was what I could get approved by the War Department, in the cost of things. And so I got it. It does milling, and I'm happy with it, except for that part. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Arduino that I've been fooling with and the stepper motor, and I'm going to make a little gearbox from Mr. Chapman's aluminum that he sent me, and I'm going to put it over there where that crank's at, and I'm going to flip a switch and raise the thing up, or flip a switch and let it down, so that I don't have to lean way the heck across that workbench and crank that crank. And really, I'd have been better off if I bought a gear motor, but I didn't really think of that until it was too late, like most things. And I've already got a ton of pulleys and belts and things like that. And I ordered an Arduino from Amazon over a month ago, Still not here. But I did get one. I went across town to Micro Center and I got a clone of an Arduino. Their brand's Inland. And I went over there for $7. I got an Arduino version 3, the R3 equivalent little computer there. And I've been playing with it here, and I'll show you all the stuff here. And in the video, I'm going to show you using this little guy right here. Well, after I got through with taking a lot of the video, I was playing with the program. They call them a sketch in the Arduino. It's really just a little program, and I was tweaking that a little here and there, and I left this guy plugged in, and I left the Arduino plugged into its own power supply. They're on two different power supplies. This has got a power supply that runs it and the motor, and the Arduino's got a power supply that runs it. And I had been going over there and plugging in the Arduino and then plugging in the motor controller and so on. And I thought, well, I'm going to go over there and mess with the little program just for a couple of minutes. Well, I was actually 5 minutes, and I smelled something. You know how that magic smoke smells pretty bad. And I thought, oh, I bet I burned up a motor or something. And I ran over there. Well, this is the guy that died. He sat there and burned up. And I had it set for 2.5 amps, and it's supposed to be a 5 amp controller, so obviously it's not really very good. But being the wise guy I am, I ordered another one just like it in the hope that I could figure a way around burning up the next one. Besides, for a 5 amp controller, the only other stuff I can find on the market's way up there in the cost, so I want to try to make it cheap for just a little bit. I'll risk one more. If that doesn't do it, I'll buy something really good. It's worth another try anyway. But Amazon already sent me a little deal for me to tell them how much I liked the guy that sold me the Arduino and all that. And the only thing I can tell them is I haven't seen it yet. And I'm beginning to think I'll never see it. I may have to just tell them I need my money back, which would be just as good, because for the same price I can drive back over to Micro Center over there and get another one, And that's probably what I'd rather do anyway than wait around a month or more. So anyway, and down toward the end of this thing, I'm going to have to, kind of impose on you a little bit. My granddaughter went with me to the Steel Challenge on Sunday, and so I'm going to show you about a little over 2 minutes of a video of her shooting one stage. How grandfathers are. And so anyway, let's get on with the Arduino footage, and we'll wind it up with a few shots fired in the fun. I played with this a little bit last night after I got back from Micro Center, and I picked up the little Arduino there, and everything's all wired up here with various and sundry alligator clips and such, and we've got the motor sitting over there, and it actually works. Actually, I played with it just a little bit. I didn't want you guys to see me let out the magic smoke, which, believe it or not, I didn't let out. We'll see if this will work. Now that's one particular program which isn't exactly really wonderful. Let me reload a different program in here. Okay, now that's one particular sketch. I think that's what they call the little program. That's running it much too slow. I'll go and I'll load up a different one, and we'll run it faster. All right, this is the same little sketch program, whatever you want to call it, that was too slow a minute ago and was of course not moving far enough. This makes almost a revolution in each direction, and it might, I think it's a couple of degrees short of a full revolution, but things are looking up. I have asked on the Arduino forum what the heck is
pin 1, 2, 3, 4. What parameters are being passed there? This is from their stepper library. And there's another one where they only use 2 pins here. But I looked through all the keywords and stuff, and it didn't tell me exactly what they're passing on all these parameters here. Steps per revolution, that's the obvious, you know, but these things here are these direction changes, pulses. What the heck are they sending through these pins? And these don't have to be pin 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually using 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 like that, you know. In fact, I'm actually only using 2 output pins. But I'd like to know what the heck if this function thinks it's passing out, so I don't know if I need to use it or not. So, we'll find out. Things are looking up though, because the little booger's running, and I don't think it's heating up or anything. It seems to be just about right. I got the right power supply, and I've got the right everything as near as I can tell. So we're going to work this out. When I've got it really worked out good, then I can go on to the next phase of my project. Supposedly the table on the right there, which is for switches 4, 5, and 6, is not correct. It's what I read on the internet while I was researching what to do with this thing. So I've been experimenting right here with switches 4, 5, and 6, and I set them to the chart there, and I changed it up to 12,800 steps to make a full revolution, and it looks to me like it's making a full 360 on 12,800. Now, I'm sure I'd have to sit down and calculate that a little better, probably, but if I change those switches to the specifications I got off the internet, which were supposed to be true, and I don't know where the heck I put them. That's odd that I'd lose that quick. Now, I lose things all the time though. Anyway, then I have to set it at 800 steps, and it'll do 360 degrees if I do almost the opposite setting on that guy. So there's no telling how much fun I'm going to have experimenting with this. And I've got to hook a lever or something on there so that I can see how much power the thing's really got. I need to be able to move 9 foot-pounds, and so I better try to figure out just what it'll do. Probably I'll have to assemble all these gears and give it a real final test, but it's coming along. Okay, so this connector, this one on this end here, he's got the direction, the pulse, and the enable signals there, and I've tied the negative side of each one of those all together and run it over and tied it on the ground on the Arduino. And it says in the instruction wherever I laid it that came with the little motor controller. It says you can just leave the enable unconnected other than just let it go to ground, and it by default is enabled. So that's what I did. So the only 2 signals I'm worrying about are the direction and the pulse. And just by trial and error, I've got the direction and the pulse pins hooked onto the right pin, but I still want to know what the heck the the library function there is trying to do with 4 pins, and I'm sure they don't really apply to this controller. I think they go when you use the thing connected directly to the motor, because the motor has 4 wires coming out. Where the heck is it? Let me back up here. The motor has 4 wires coming out, and they run the 2 sets of coils in the motor, and I suspect that those 4 pins are supposed to go to those 4 wires, and not at all related to that motor controller at all. But there's another one, Axcel Stepper library, that I downloaded that does run this little guy. It's supposed to be just specifically for him, and it seems to work quite well. So I guess I need to quit all this and go sit down and start playing with different code. And I bought some switches. I got 2 of them because that's the way they were selling them. About $5 I think for the 2 off of eBay. And these are supposed to be off in the middle and on to either side. So let me, I haven't taken them out of there even. But yeah, that's what the little tag says, is on, and it's spring loaded to the middle. So if you want something, you hold it down. As long as you're holding it, the motor's going to go. You let go and it'll stop. That's what I've got to put into the code next. Get this thing to work here. So I change direction with a switch. Okay, I finally got all my syntax paid, and I can switch this thing on and off in different directions using these little switches. I guess I got it set going a predetermined distance, but if I had it going a shorter distance, I can maybe just hold the switch on and it'll go, which will be probably the final way I'll do it. Most likely I'll have it move a few degrees every time I push the button, and if I hold the button down, it'll just move a few and a few and a few like that. But things are finally looking up here, and every little bit I learn just a little bit more about it. Another little adjustment here. It goes about a 1/4 of a turn with a step. If I let go of the push button, it looks like that I stopped it immediately, and it's really going about a 1/4 of a turn after I let go of the switch. But that looks pretty smooth to me. I think I'm up to the point now where I need to put all my pulleys together, and that's going to be a lot harder job than programming an Arduino. So we'll get on with that.
That one guy, he has
Are you ready? Stand by. Hit. Hit. Hit.
pull before you push the button. And you can push the button too hard and then try to pull it at the same time, and it'll come out and your finger.
Are you ready? Stand by.
That's why I don't like it.
I got you.
Hit. 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 Hit.
Got it.
Are you ready? Stand by. Hit. 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 You got new machine.
Oh no, I've never seen that. No.
Shoot this up. Are you ready? Stand by. High hit. High. Slow it. High. Shoot to the bottom. Whoa. Hit this fire. You'll make this your final stand. Get it? Kind of out of battery or something. That was kind of weird. Are you ready? Stand by. Racket. We'll start over. Go to rack the slide. No, leave it in there. Just rack the slide. There you go. Are you ready? Stand by. Hit. 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 Very good. If you are finished, load show clear. If clear, tag it.